we are live.
Hello, everyone.
Okay. Yep, we are
Hello.
live. Hey, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Marie, Jenna, I don't know why it's telling that. Yay! I might have two streams running at the same time. Who flippin' knows? Who knows? You
Oh
know how I
no.
am. But I want to say hello to everybody. Let me go down through my participant page. Jenna, Marie, Terry, Tippy, Kim. Hello, everybody. Yay! We'll wait for a few more people to get in here. Actually, we are waiting for the most important participants to be showing up so that we can continue with this. Hey, D-Dubs. Hey, Janelle.
What up,
And
D-Dubs?
Lit Hot, hello. Yep, remember, Marie, thank you. Remember, everybody, live chat. Take no prisoners today with trolls, my little wrenches, and we will not be addressing them either. Just get them out of here. Hey, Irish Albert. And not worth a shit today, D-Dubs, but you know how it is, you know? You've seen me. You know. I just waltz around with this damn air hose and pretend I feel good. You know? That's all I can do. Hey, Timothy, how are you? I'm doing good. Well, we've got Angelo up on panel. And then we've got the lovely Pearl. Hey, Susan. Oh, somebody's
Hi,
making
everyone.
a phone call.
I bet he's trying to call Kat.
Oh, yeah, probably. And today we're going to be talking, yes, I know, Marie. Well, today we're just not going to take any prisoners, and we're not going to be even addressing them any further. So that's what we're going to do. But today I have a sad, sad, sad story going on. And no, we are not soliciting for any kind of funds. No, 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 no. What we are doing is we're wanting to get the word out about a situation that is happening right now down in Texas to someone that just lost a husband November 3rd, a veteran who lost his life. Absolutely, Timothy, that's the way to look at it. That's right, Marie Rocketrol. Got to run, just wanted to say hello. Sarah, thank you for coming in. Hello. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but until hopefully she'll show up here pretty soon because we can only go so far with this without her and her sister. And
Right.
But Kat Paranormal is the one that we're waiting for right now, and her sister, Wendy, is the widow of the veteran we're going to be talking about. Hey, JK. How are you, honey? So, November 3rd, this veteran passed away. And when he passed away, his body was picked up. Let me stop right there. He had donated his body to science. Hi, Jazz. Donated for his body to go to science to be researched on Agent Orange. So he was giving his body up so that they could research Agent Orange in this gentleman. The funeral home picked him up. Now, there's a lot more to this story, but I'm just going to give you the brief. Hello, Kelly. I'm going to give you the brief rundown here, and then hopefully she'll come on here within a few minutes and we can get the gist of this. Pearl, do you want to go a little bit further with this and tell them what happened?
Okay, so there were some estranged family members involved, and they recommended this particular funeral home
You're going to have
to
to
handle
speak up.
the body.
You're going to have to speak up, baby.
Okay, can you hear me better
There
now?
you go. Yeah.
Okay, so there was some estranged family members involved who had recommended this funeral home to handle the body. And essentially what the funeral home was supposed to do was transport the body from the hospital to the funeral home and store it until it could be picked up by the proper people to be donated. Um, they contacted her, and I don't remember how many days it was. It was a few days after, and informed her that his body was not going to be able to be donated. There was a problem, and she's like, "Well, what's the problem? I already have it scheduled to be picked up. I don't understand." And he said, "Well, we embalmed the body." And she said, "You did what?" And he said, "Well, we had permission from Miss Bars." And she said, "No, you did not have permission to embalm the body. We would not have given you permission to embalm the body because an embalmed body cannot be donated." And he said, "Well, it's been done now, so he is no longer going to be able to be donated." So then he quoted them a price for cremation. And since then, he has increased the price exponentially, repetitively. She, in order to get the money that a veteran would receive, you have to have certain paperwork. And one of the paperworks that you have to have is a death certificate.
Notarized death certificate.
Yep, from the county. And that is the funeral home's job. They file for the death certificate as well. Well, they have so many days. He waited till the last possible day, filed for the death certificate, which was right before Thanksgiving. And then once he received those back after the holiday, he informed her that she had so many hours to contact him back, which I think he gave her 24 hours to contact him back. And if she did not appear with the money to pay for the cremation and the, what was it, administration fees, they were going to charge,
fees, yeah.
yeah, like a crazy amount of money for administration fees. Then they were going to consider his body abandoned and turn it over to the state.
Now, taking effect, you cannot embalm a body without permission, number one. Number two, after his body was done being worked on and after his donation, they would have had to, they wanted the body to be cremated.
Correct.
You do not cremate, they don't embalm a body to be cremated.
No,
Well,
the chemical release would be toxic.
No, they can cremate an embalmed body. Here's the thing. So embalming, all it does is keep a body looking more fresh and plump because everything sinks when you pass away. Most people,
that they don't need to embalm a body.
they don't need to, especially if they're doing a direct cremation.
Correct.
There wasn't going to be a viewing. There wasn't going to be a memorial service. There wasn't supposed to be anything through this funeral home. There was only supposed to be transportation and refrigeration.
So it was a way stop until the medical center could get there to pick them up.
Right. So the only thing we can think is that they embalmed the body in order to force them to not donate, and that thereby giving them a chance to charge them more for other services, including things like the cremation and a wake if they could talk them into it, which they have tried to do. But I think at last calculation, we were up over $4,200 or something like that.
That's flippin' crazy.
40. Now, here's what should have happened, Uber. So from the medical center where he was pronounced dead, he would have been transported to the funeral home for storage for Fort Detrick, because at this time he was donating his body to the study of effects of Agent Orange. So Fort Detrick, where the study's being done, would have been the ones that would have sent out a team to pick him up. He would have, the sciences would have been done, and then the spouse would have been contacted for the funeral honors, which would have taken place, which is called internment because he would have been cremated.
Right.
They would have had an interment service, which is where the urn gets picked up. It still gets picked up in a hearse, still comes with a flag. It sits in a church for a little bit for people to pay their respects, then it gets transported to the national cemetery of her choice, assuming there was room. So in her case, I would think it would be one in Texas,
Right.
where she resides. So then it would have been flown on an Angel flight to Texas, and his former unit, if they were still active, or the next available unit, would have been called and activated for funeral honors. They would have sent a 7-person team, actually 8 because there's a bugler, 6 for the urn, and 1 residing or presiding over the ceremony, which is usually the same rank or 1 rank above of the deceased soldier. And then honors would have been rendered, the flag would have been handed to the spouse, and the internment would have taken place.
Right. Exactly. Yes, Terry, exactly. You know, my dad's cremation was $800. George's cremation was $900. It's completely, this man is a crook, in my opinion. A crook. Not only that, he got the widow over there under
Duress. She was
duress,
bereaved. Yeah.
complete duress, and had her to sign a paperwork signing over her, basically her rights. Am I right, Pearl? Oh, she dropped out.
I think we're getting ready to bring Kat up. I think she's coming now.
Oh, okay.
Resend her the link here.
And had her sign paperwork, basically signing over her rights. Is that right, Angela, from what I'm understanding?
It sounds like it was some kind of a after effect form because they illegally embalmed.
Right.
I think that's the form she may have signed, and it was definitely under duress. The woman's still bereaved.
Oh gosh.
And I mean, really, even when it comes to my wife, with this whole funeral honor stuff and what's required and what the VA does and doesn't do, she doesn't know all that stuff. So, and she's going to be stuck in bereavement when I pass. So,
right.
It does take somebody of a different caliber of mindset to kind of proceed with these things. And unfortunately, she didn't bring myself or Steve-O into this until just a few days ago.
See, here's where I'm having a real hard problem with this. This man passed away November 3rd.
Yeah.
And he still has not been laid to rest.
And they want to charge her
Okay,
storage
Pearl.
fees.
And they want to charge for storage. Now, his services will be paid for. Is that correct?
Yes, the VA covers all costs of funeral arrangements, depending on which way both the deceased and the spouse wanted it to go. So whether it was a full-fledged burial funeral or internment funeral, it's all covered under the Funeral Act.
Right.
I believe I sent you that link. I think with the in your email to the funeral guidelines and the regulations that cover them. Right.
So, what I'm upset about is they have tried. Hey, Kat.
Hey, I am so sorry. We were following up on some additional information and it just
exploded.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm almost thinking that if anyone also this is almost like becoming a true crime type thing, where there are many layers to this that I didn't even know about. But hello
everybody. This is Kat.
This is Wendy. This is my sister. Look.
Yeah, don't forget to mute your YouTube side and make sure you're on live chat.
Okay.
Wendy, first of all, I want to say I am so sorry for your loss and what you're going through. It's nothing anybody should have to go through, let alone grieving a spouse. So you are very well loved in here. In this chat room, everybody is sending their love to you, and we are getting the word out about this. And
Thank you
see if
so
we can't
much.
get you some help, honey.
Thank you. It 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 has been. I mean, Uber, Angela, wouldn't y'all both agree that as you heard the story, all of it, because you, when people say condense it, the
Yes,
full
Queen.
stuff of everything that happened, the scam, all of everything inside of it, it's as if you have a little puzzle piece here and here, and together they don't make sense, but then you get more and more.
Right.
And then when we get out to the end, whoa, you look at this and go, oh my God, this is what happened. And this is how these people did this and so forth. And then all of a sudden you've got the big picture and you're like, this was so elaborate, actually. So what have you explained to the audience thus
Well, I had
far?
explained I have not put any kind of the name of the funeral home nor the veteran's name. So if I can, if you want to call him by name, you most definitely can. I've been, calling him a veteran.
Absolutely.
And
Oh, you've not said the vet's name. Is that what
No.
you said? Okay.
right.
Is it okay for?
Of course, it's up to you. It's you.
Okay.
This is her spouse.
Yes, I just wanted to give. I didn't want to be
I
disrespectful.
gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that, because yes. But the latest and greatest hashtag is hashtag bring Carrie Barr home. Bring him back. So, my sister's husband of 34 years was Kerry Ray Barr, and he served in the Marines, in the Coast Guard, and he was an amazing person who did a lot of amazing things for our country. And okay, hey Amberlyn, I'm live. I'm sorry, you guys, I have pets, and that's my sister's service dog. And what happened right before we came on, I was like, there you go. And I have kids, and
You're fine.
but she wasn't supposed to like pop in. But
You're fine.
you've
honey.
had kids, so yes. So that was his name, and that was Wendy, do you know his rank? See, the military stuff is very. I come from a veteran family as well. Our father was a veteran of World War II. We have a long line of military, but do you know what his?
All I remember from is just little stories.
And things he did, but his rank, like, was he a sergeant? Was
All
he
I know.
she can't. Focusing on, and you'll understand this, and I've explained it twice in the other two shows that I did about this. So please, y'all, if my sister has PTSD, and she is disabled through that and other things, and it has affected her cognitive ability. So let's say where you and I, as soon as something, and I'm sure some people in chat can relate to this, when all of a sudden there's something big, she shuts down, she stutters, The things coming at her make no sense to her. And that is also one of the reasons that from the beginning, hey, Vintage Gal, it's Cat Angel and Angelo and Uber.
Woohoo!
And
I'm
then
sorry,
this is my-
everybody. I was watching Cat.
And boy,
If
it
everybody
was a
could share this out so that we can get this knowledge out there.
piece.
And no, we are not taking any donations. And we'll get through this story here so that you guys, we want to do this for knowledge and to help find a resolution for this family.
Yes.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's kind of one of those things where you and I have been buried in the web paperwork, because if y'all are veterans it's not like you everything needs
Or
a form.
veteran spouses.
It's okay, honey. And I know it's okay to cry. It's just been the red tape and the things you have to go through. But again, I'm jumping ahead of myself but I will say through this, please remember to do many of these things, you have to have a death certificate. You cannot say, hey, someone's dead without proving that they're dead.
So I'm going to stop you there. Carrie passed
Yes.
away November 3rd. You did
Yes.
not get a certified, notarized death certificate until the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Day before.
Day
Day-
before Thanksgiving. So there is no reason for that at all.
They were
Without that,
holding it.
without that death certificate, folks, you cannot do anything. You cannot file for life insurance. You cannot do anything.
You
Okay.
cannot pay, let's say you were going to give money to these crooks. You couldn't get that money without a death certificate. So if you don't file for the death certificate, he passed on November 3rd, and yes, there's a host of horror in between, then you have Thursday, Thanksgiving, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you can't do anything until Monday. Okay,
Didn't
so
know that. All
Yeah.
I know is when I went to get it, they said they had a whole list of people death certificates to that date.
Yeah.
And they said that they're supposed to have it in
the first 2 to 3 days.
right. And that was
So people
I
can
waited
get
2
paid in,
weeks
Yeah.
to see if it was in. It was.
and it wasn't. And yes, during this story, you'll understand why this man waited that long. Okay.
So let
So-
me over everybody's asking what happened. So I'm just going to give you a quick, the audience, just a real quick summary, but you're going to fill in everything else.
Yes, I
This
am.
veteran,
You give a quick synopsis, and then I'll.
all right,
add
honey.
more
I
to
hate to keep interrupting you on that, and I'm so sorry, but more people keep coming in wanting to know what's going on. So
Okay.
Carrie, who is a veteran, Marine, donated, when he passed, was going to have his body donated for science, for Agent Orange. From the hospital, he died November 3rd, and just real quick, a funeral home picked up his body and is now holding his body ransom until money comes about, that they keep charging this lady every day also, which up to the sum now of over $4,000.
We're gonna get to that, honey.
So there you go. This is, and she'll fill in the blanks.
Funeral home nightmare. You titled this so well. This is a funeral home nightmare and then some. And again, part of this is so it never happens to you. Part of this is making people aware of who did this. And if in doing this, somebody that watches this and shares this sees it, sometimes it like takes a village of people who have information or can help in some way. We are not asking for money to give to this man. That's not what we're doing. I mean, we're kind of, again, we're going to have to go through this story to understand how we got to literally this last week in the final nail in the coffin.
Well, why don't you
And then,
go ahead and do that? And
okay, all right. November 4th. That was a Sunday. He passed away.
The third.
The 3rd. Okay, that which was a Sunday. Passed away on the 3rd. By the time I got to the hospital and my other sister got a hold of me, I was doing laundry and I didn't hear my phone ringing. So then I saw she called. I'm like, she doesn't normally call me on a Sunday. And I just kind of had a feeling I better go ahead and call back. Like something didn't feel right. I'm like, this is weird. And I had this weird sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. So I called her back and she told me that my sister had woken up that morning and her husband, the Marine veteran of 34 years, there was no signs of life. She called an ambulance. They worked on him there, and then they took him to the hospital. And they did try some things there as well, but they then pronounced him dead. And of course, as life goes on, and you start to lose people, this is a part of life. Okay,
Shock.
it's shock, but it wasn't like an expected thing. Yes, he had issues with his lungs, COPD. He was 60% disabled with the veterans. And he was an amazing, amazing human being. So what happens after you do that, I mean, I think that this is kind of what people do, is you turn around and you go back to person, in this case, my sister's house. But upon entering the hospital room, there were 8, 9, 10 people that I had never met in 34 years. And yet none of her other sisters, our family, wasn't there. I don't know who you made the phone call. She made one phone call and all of a sudden everyone showed up. Now, I had known that my brother-in-law was estranged from his daughter. And I'm doing air quotes because later you'll find that that wasn't even his daughter. But we didn't know this until we found something in a briefcase through this. So this is a very high level sort of scam, and you'll understand why. And it's just that complex. I wish it was easy, but the horrifying stuff through all this, you guys would be like, how are y'all still standing? Well, faith in God, in family, in love, in friends that are willing to help with this. So we go back to the house. I unfortunately have been through enough things in my life. I was watching them like a hawk. Cat, yes, he was my brother-in-law of 34 years. And my dad passed when I was 21, so he very much was like the man of the family then. And he took care of many things over my life, and we were very, very close. And that in and of itself was traumatizing for me. But I'm a person, when you get in crisis, right, I take over and I'm in business mode. I'll deal with my emotions later, but I have to be sure everyone's okay and that my sister is safe. I'm also aware that a lot of times when people pass away, people come like vultures and they start picking through people's things and wanting this and wanting that. Now, they started to ask for things. So I'm trying to watch who's going, because they're like going through drawers. They're going through closets. They're like, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Now,
go back to the beginning on the 3rd.
Wait.
When I'm in shock. And
oh, yes.
Volunteers.
Before our family, before her sisters, the people who should be helping her with this because his daughter hadn't seen him in like 5 years for a reason. Estranged. When I say estranged family, I mean estranged. Okay? I wasn't there. Immediately, she tells my sister, I'm going to go ahead and call and have his body transferred to this funeral home. At that time, my sister didn't know that the body could be left at the morgue. And then you make the funeral arrangements. You can make those from there. And then have your
She
person
said
done.
it was all going to be taken
It's
care
all
of.
going to be taken
There
care of.
wouldn't be any cost, this and that.
Right.
She works with them.
She
She's
does
done
flowers for
flowers.
the funeral
That's
home.
all I remember.
They're business. They're not business partners, but you think about a funeral home. They do flowers. So my sister felt comfortable. Oh my God. Okay, so what happened? She said they're already on their way to pick him up. She's like, okay,
I guess.
my sister's on her way. And I told my sister, I called halfway there. I said, do not let them take the body until I get there. If they come, you're going to have to wait till I get there. This is all happening very fast. And y'all, there were no previous funeral arrangements. Lots of people don't want to plan their funeral. And I'll give you my thought and advice on that you should pre-plan it so things like this don't happen. There was no will, but again, this goes along the way. So between a husband and wife, you do know what they would want. So I got there. That's when all the people were there. This funeral home that she does business with is there. At this point, I'm thinking something seems a little off, but there's lots of people there and I'm outnumbered at this point. It's just she and I. We're waiting for her daughter and our other sister. And so I'm like, okay, she can't do anything. She is in shock.
And my eldest daughter's up in Chicago.
Yeah, she was out of town. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? They're like, well, they're coming out. They're going to take him. I'm like, take him where? She said to Paris, which is where he was born.
Sherman.
In that area. So this is in Sherman where the funeral home was. And I'm like, okay. Well, okay, we'll do that, and then we'll talk about what we're the burial and things like what are we going to do. But y'all, the reality is you have to determine. I'm like, do you have a burial policy? She's like, I think so, but I don't know where it is. It's in a filing cabinet in there because he had good files. And I said, okay, don't worry about it, honey. I'll look when we get home, when we get back to the house. So you got to remember, all these people followed us, and they were watching me like a hawk. Where was I going? What was I looking at? And as I started to go through the files, I put important documents there. I was being watched, but I was also watching them. As I was going through paperwork so we could find out if we have a burial policy, what we're going to do, because I know business has to be taken care of pretty quickly. And I'm going to have to be in charge of doing this. My other sister and her daughter were helping her emotionally while I gathered information. They were going through closets, drawers, jewelry, asking for things. And I thought that was very strange. No one in our family, when our parents passed away.
The daughter went to the nurse in the hospital, took his necklace from the nurse. The nurse just gave it to her. Assumed she was blood related.
Or his wife.
Remember, he married. That was his third wife. He married 4 years after the youngest was born.
But you won't get involved. Yeah. So there's this person here, but she kind of took charge of my sister until I got there. Okay. Papers. They're looking at things. They're going around. I take all of the important documents, and yes, all of this will make sense to you. I took all of the important documents, marriage certificate, military forms, driver's license, copies of that. There were copies of my sister's social security card. There were birth certificates. There was all of everything. I did pull, it looked like USAA. Maybe you had life insurance there. And I don't know, but I know I'm going to need these documents. I tucked those under the desk where you put the chair to the back. Now, I didn't know that I was being side-eyed and they were looking Like, what is she doing and where is she putting this? Because you're not thinking anybody's going to be shady, right? Right. But they were. So then my daughter had to go to school the next day. So we were there until, 11, 12 o'clock at night. And I was like, okay. She said, I'm going to stay here with her. But by that time, her daughter got there. And the first thing that this person said to my niece was, where's the money? How much money is there? My niece did not take very well to that. And she's like, excuse me?